landmark lawsuit which is expected to have lasting implications for GPs across Britain.
20-year-old Evie Toombes, who was born with spina bifida, sued her mother's doctor over claims that she should never have been born.
Well, in the unique wrongful conception case, Evie argued that her mother would have delayed getting pregnant if she had received the correct advice from her GP.
And as she makes legal history, Evie is joining us now. And welcome, Evie. It's lovely to have you here today. So you were born with spina bifida, so just explain that condition and how it affects your everyday life.
Yeah, so spina bifida affects the nerves and the function of mainly legs, bladder and bowel.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of physio for my legs, I catheterise, I have a stoma bag. There's a lot of everyday implications for your health.
And is this something that, as the years progress, you'll rely more heavily on medical care and that you will possibly need a wheelchair in the future?
Continually, yeah. So I use a wheelchair kind of on and off and try and walk and use that while I can. But obviously you manage things as best as possible.
OK.
But at the same time, you live an amazing life. You are a professional horse person. I mean, you work very hard on that and very successful. And so you don't let this get in your way.
Yeah, I think we've grown up and I have a younger brother who's healthy. So my mum's always trying to make it so that we can both do similar things, and there's a lot of support that goes on behind the scenes, and especially horses. It's a form of physiotherapy, so there's the RDA, Riding for Disabled Association, where it actually helps people, children and people, to essentially be more physically able. So it's really positive in terms of physio as well.
So let's talk about this court case then, because this is a landmark case and this is against your mother's GP, and it's based on the information and advice he gave her before she fell pregnant, and it all stems around folic acid.
Yeah, so this is a case about a GP who actually admitted to giving advice that was negligent.
Yeah.
So the advice he gave, my mum specifically went for advice before conceiving because she was coming off the pill and just wanted to make sure that everything was OK.
Yeah.
She didn't have a family of her own, so usually you probably go to your mum if you want to start a family just to tell her. She didn't have her mum to go to, so just wanted to check with the GP and make sure everything was OK. And when she went, she specifically asked about coming off the pill and also if she needed to take folic acid. Now, there and then, the GP said folic acid is not necessary.
And that's what was written on the notes.
Exactly. And then, obviously, what transpired when I was born and my mum then was looking to have a second child and make sure, is there anything she could do to prevent it again, that actually she should have been told about folic acid. And this is about sticking to the guidance. And what the judge found was that had guidance been adhered to, a healthy child would have been born based on statistics.
So the lawyers for the GP said that he gave reasonable advice. Folic acid, we should explain if you don't know, but almost certainly probably do, it helps a woman's body to produce red blood cells. Taking it before the first 3 months of pregnancy doesn't guarantee that the baby will not have spina bifida, but research suggests that women who take multivitamin with folic acid can reduce the risks of their baby having spina bifida by up to 70%. And the moment your mum realised that she had been misadvised was when?
So that was about a year after I was born and I was diagnosed. I was diagnosed at a year old and then had spinal surgery when I was 18 months old. And essentially she went to get advice just to double check that everything had been done as properly as possible, and essentially just wanted to be given the best chance, as everyone wants when they're starting a family. It's precious. It's probably one of the most important things in our lives. And when she went, actually, it was highlighted that, no, this wasn't correct at all, and this was a breach of duty of care.
How did your mum explain this to you? Because it's a tough thing to hear, isn't it? That actually, if you could go back in time and go to a different GP, I mean, it's wrongful conception. You wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I think it's such a whirlwind and I think maybe what's been reported has kind of been twisted a bit, but we looked at it as when you're starting a family, you want to give yourself the best chance, don't you? Yeah. And you would want to give anyone the best chance. And GPs are given guidance to help them so that everyone can have uniform advice. Whatever GP you go to, our NHS all has the same advice and criteria. Yeah. But if that's not given and guidance is failed, then that's where the issue comes.
Right. a spokesperson for the Doctors Association said we need to take time to understand why the judge came to the conclusion she did and to consider as a profession what this means. We're concerned that this judgment places an excess burden on healthcare professionals, which could make them more fearful. We strongly call for a review of this case and all its possible implications. There have been thoughts that this could affect doctor-patient relationships, and as it says there, that a doctor, bearing in mind that I don't think many doctors would go into this profession and not want to do good, and there are, you know, a vast amount of doctors, you know, sort of saving lives every single day, most of them, that they could potentially, of all their career and all their hard work, a couple of years down the line have made, you know, sort of one choice that could essentially bring everything to an end.
Yeah, I think if you are a GP that's sticking to advice and guidance and giving correct advice, you are absolutely fine. This was about a GP knowing the guidance and choosing not to disclose it and give correct information and actually advise the opposite.
There's been speculation that you could be awarded millions for this, and I imagine you want to clarify that slightly because the money will be going to cover your lifelong care costs, right?
Exactly. So this isn't anything like that. What happens now is that doctors assess my health and work out what it would cost, essentially, to keep me alive and cared for, and that's what it's based on.
Just going back to who you are now and what the person that you are now, and we've discussed so many times in here, met some incredible people who, through adversity or disability or challenges in their life, have still had a massive impact on the world. You talk to young people about disability acceptance and understanding. This is who you are as a human being, who you've become because of being born with spina bifida. So it doesn't the fact that you are now sitting here as this incredibly accomplished woman, if you change that at birth, you wouldn't be the person you are now.
Exactly, but this is also about preventing health conditions for new children. If every family has a chance to have a healthy child, I think we'd all choose that. And no one would choose to be unwell, but I've had a really great opportunity in terms of living with this to kind of start on social media and create a place where we're all following each other's journeys and everyone's learning from each other, even people without health conditions. It's great to learn about it and to create more acceptance and understanding. We're not born knowing everything, and if we can all understand a bit more. So I'm really proud and happy of kind of everyone I've met and learnt from on social media, and especially speaking in schools. I've been doing that for 8 years, and the positive effect of that on children's childhoods and more understanding in their classrooms is incredible, not only for their childhood, but for their learning as well.
OK. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right.